deals with African Americans in the performing arts. That's another collection which I have over. So everything dealing with African American performing arts, music, jazz, dance, and you will see a lot of those folks, including all our Motown.
Today in the library, we are looking at old history from Detroit and trying to find buildings, people, and family to put into our own videos.
The way I became a part of DAF was my director of communications when I was in college. Her name is Jody Gaber. She invited me. I have a background in media communication, and she thought that I would be a great person to be able to help you guys out.
I found a few census books, a lot of books where you can find about wars and memoirs. And looking through these books, if you keep going, you could probably find a lot of people that you didn't know about that played a really important part in Detroit's history.
The most interesting thing I saw was this whole area within the Detroit Public Library. I feel that it was very interesting, relating to the fact that I had no idea it was even here. It's a completely new area for me, and I feel that it's a very good chance to learn something new.
I want to find something about my family's history, and I hope I can find it one day.
What I feel is important in the Detroit community, besides art, is the culture in Detroit, the history of Detroit. Knowing the history, people understand better where they came from or why things are the way they are now.
Well, today we are interviewing one of the participants' grandparents, and I'm getting B-roll of the house while others are doing A-roll and interviews, and we're filming.
Jobs were plentiful, people, I mean, all these vacant plants you see nowadays and stuff like that, those weren't there, those were working. People were working. When you've got kids that, how would you say, don't have guidance, ain't no telling what's gonna happen. Sports. I think that's what, if anything, that saved me, because I was going down a path that wasn't, that most of you guys probably wouldn't go down.
And my dad had lost his job working for the Southern Railroad in Georgia. That's where I was born. And I wondered when we got here, because it did snow, and I had never saw snow down in Georgia. And I asked my mother, why did you bring us to this place? I bowled with Motown people. I didn't bowl with all of them, but I used to fill in, and I bowled on the team where Barry Gordy's father was on the team with me. They call him Pops.
I wanted to be a part of community album because I enjoy film, and I would like to learn a lot more so that when I get older, I'll be able to be a better film director, and so that when I do documentaries, I already know how to do B-roll, A-roll, and I'll be able to do my job very well, and plus it's fun, so.
So here in Avalon Village, I guess you can say I'm a land developer. What I've decided to do was to repurpose a blighted and vacant and abandoned block in Highland Park, Michigan, between Woodward and 2nd on Avalon Street, and build a village. And we did a Kickstarter, and my goal was $241,900. That was the goal. And as you know, with Kickstarter, you got to make that money or else you don't get any at all. It's not like GoFundMe where you'll be able to get a little bit. So I said that we need about that much to at least start the village. And we ended up, the Kickstarter was 30 days, and we raised $243,691 in 30 days.
From the South, I was from Kentucky.
Right.
Yeah, in the coal mining town in Harlan, Kentucky. He was a gospel singer. So I was there, so I met him there. He had just getting out of the service. What happened, we had a power outage at my house, and I went over to the church where they were singing at, and so I met him there. That's how I met him.
So sweet.
My father was a railroad worker, so he moved to up in this area, so the family moved from Texas to Flint, Michigan. Me, when I came, I was always a commuter back and forth to Detroit, working with some of the Motown acts, you know, like the Marvelettes. The Temptation was called the Primes then. It wasn't a Temptation, they were the Primes, managed by a lady named Johnny Mae Matthews. And that record, Johnny Mae was the one that they dedicated to her. Little Stevie, what we call him, Wonder, he's from Saginaw. And those are people that I knew every day, I worked with every day.
Okay, what we're going to do is, one of the things, GPR produced a lot of its own programs, including a lot of original shows. And at one time, the station had 5 different ethnic programs on the air. There was a Greek talk show, a Polish dance show. Those were some of the, and even on the weekends, on Saturdays, they had live wrestling. Ooh. Oh yeah.
Well, I actually started off in television. I was working as a technician for TV, and then I eventually started to produce shows, direct shows. I did that at Channel 4, and then when this television station, WGPR, which was the very first Black-owned and operated television station in the entire country, came on air, they asked me to come over and be their executive producer. And as the executive producer, I began to organize the production of various television programs. I had the good fortune of meeting a gentleman who was a manager at Wayne State University, and he had interest in producing a black television show, and he had been introduced to me, and he knew that I was a producer because I was producing records at that time, and he asked me to join in with him to produce this TV show, a television show called Take to Black. And I started working with him. I started off with just kind of helping him arrange productions, and then eventually I ended up directing the program.
William Banks was a prominent entrepreneur and businessman before the station went on the air. So he owned property in and around Detroit. In order to go on the air, he had to raise $3 million. But he was also an attorney and a businessman. So he was very successful, and he owned the radio station as well. But he felt that broadcast television is where people look to see themselves. And he looked around and said, I don't see us on television. I don't see African American faces. I don't see ethnic people on television. It was through trial and working through it and practicing and learning on the job and being mentored by others that I was able to cultivate, skills for being on camera and being behind the scenes. We hope to eventually do some workshops and broadcasting here so that we can provide practical experience. Although students get as much as you're doing today, you go out, you have good instructors, and you get field experience. That's the best way to learn.
My name is Lavelle Mathis. This house is old, small, but full of memories. This house is where my mother and aunt grew up in 43 years ago. My cousins, my siblings, and I all grew up there too. This is my grandparents' house.
Hi, I'm Brick Snow, and this is my church. This church is big, grand, and sturdy. It's hard to miss driving down the street. The parking lot was big enough to throw parties. This church is around the corner.
Hi, my name is Danae. This house is huge, secretive, and beautiful. It is a craftsman's bungalow. The porch is huge with windows peeking through. This house is still standing strong in a sea of blight. This house is brown, made from brick and wood. This house has a garage that matches with the house. This house has a sidewalk that leads to the backyard. This house is on 3rd and Easton.
Hi, my name is Breon Davis, and this is my house. This house is memories, my family, and many good times. This house is a two-family flat where my grandmother and her children live. This house has been a home to many of my family members, including me. This house is a treasure.
Hi, my name is John Smith, and this is my home. This house is cozy, safe, and fun. When I first moved into this house, I was 6 years old, and the house used to be owned by a lady that everyone knew. This home is my childhood.
Hi, my name is Dion Reynolds. This house is monumental, beautiful, with plenty of history. I visited this building and made very fun memories while competing in vocal competitions here. It's connected with Wayne State and is one of the very few orange-like brick buildings in downtown Detroit.
Welcome to the wild, wild Midwest, the state of creativity. A place where anything goes and everything is possible. Dreamers and doers, designers and builders, problem solvers. Welcome home. This is the land of the big three. Music, media arts, and maker culture. Dream, dare, do, repeat. That's our motto. The best place to start a business. The next artist mecca. It's the gold rush, the motherlode of talent, where the world's best and brightest tap into designers and developers, shooters and CGIers, editors and mixers, and all the coders and craftsmen who can make the insanely brilliant happen. It's raw, authentic talent. Michigan, the state of creativity. Welcome home.
Attention, the Detroit Zoo will open in 5 minutes.
5 minutes, please. Just 5 minutes.
My lines! My lines! I can't remember my lines.
My makeup! My makeup!
Wardrobe! I say wardrobe!
How do I look? Seriously, how do I look?
Hey, honey, give me a little kiss before I go on, huh?
Okay, guys, this way. Wait a minute, get up.
Wrong way, guys.
Nice going, Melvin. My lines, my lines.
Ba 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 boo.
I want to talk to my agent.
Let me talk to your agent. Take it from me, you just gotta keep cool.
Positions, everyone.
Hey, no shoving. Away from me.
Hey, this place is a zoo.
Visit the Detroit Zoo and see how the stars live.
1 and 2 and...
Take it from me, you just gotta keep cool.
Positions, everyone.
This place is a zoo.
Visit the Detroit Zoo and see how the stars live.
1 and 2 and...
Good afternoon and welcome everybody. My name is Elliot Wilhelm. I'm the director of the Detroit Film Theater, which this auditorium, which is the Detroit Institute of Arts Auditorium, has sort of become, in a sense, what they call the Detroit Film Theater, which is kind of nice, but it's officially still the Detroit Institute of Arts Auditorium, but it hosts a series of films, which runs just about every weekend, including this one, which was called the Detroit Film Theater Series when it was first born in January of 1974. That seems like an awfully long time ago. I got here about 4 or 5 months prior to that to begin programming it. The Civil War had just ended, and I was hired. I needed something to do, and one of the things that I had to do prior to coming to work here at the DIA was that I was an enthusiastic supporter of, member of, and sort of hanger-on at DAFT, which was then called the Detroit Area Film Teachers. It evolved all these years later into something truly extraordinary, and I don't think DAFT's founders ever realized how well it was going to be received and how wonderfully it was able to evolve into the professional organization that it is today. The one thing that's remained true from the very beginning that I recall, and memory's getting a little bit scattered these days, is the enthusiasm of all of the people who were a part of DAFT, whatever its acronym stood for over the years, and it changed a bit up until today. It was that enthusiasm and excitement about movies and the understanding that we can make them. And I think those founding members never really believed that you could make them in ways that you can make them now. What's remained constant is that desire to tell stories, and that storytelling passion comes through in all of the entries this year. This being the senior division, I feel like I should be giving a commencement speech. Probably sounds like I am because I'm going on and on. But that's not my purpose. It's really to welcome you here in the common goal of understanding and appreciating and creating film, creating cinema, whatever format it's in, whether it's digital, whether it's film, regardless, it is these moving pictures that have entranced us for so many years, even prior to the building of this theater, which was erected in 1927, and was able to show sound films from the very beginning, by the way. So the theater has a storied history, as do all of the people who attend. Those of you who aren't used to coming to the Detroit Film Theater on weekends to see films as regular citizens, I urge you to do so. We are back, as many motion picture theaters, most of them are, those that survived all the time in which we were locked down. But beginning last October, we've been back on the big screen. Our new summer season schedule, which begins next weekend, has just come out. You'll find it available on the tables on the outside. And in furtherance of your excitement around movies internationally, we hope that you will partake of the offerings of the DFT and to come here often and to see things that may not at first sound like, I don't know if I want to see that. It turns out those are always the ones that knock you out and are films that you remember and that will influence you in the future in whatever pursuit in this medium that you decide to pursue. And I highly recommend, by the way, to be completely commercial about it, this weekend's film, which is showing tonight at 7 and tomorrow at 2, an Iranian film called Hit the Road. Amazing new film that shows really how much we all have in common around the world, even when it seems that that is not true. It is. And now I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to turn things over to someone who can be just a bit more coherent about the events that you're going to be experiencing this afternoon. He is the current president of DAFT and a wonderful fellow all around, Mike Conrad. Mike.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Conrad. I am a video production teacher at Royal Oak High School and also serving as the current president of DAFT, also known as Detroit Detroit Arts Film and Television. I want to echo Elliot's sentiment of saying, please come to the theater and see some films here. If you haven't, it's a wonderful experience, and it's also a wonderful experience to have your work being shown here as well. I want to welcome you to the longest running film festival in the nation. The Michigan Student Film Festival is now celebrating its 54th year. And that's right, give it up. Let's hear it for it, right? I also want to state, I can't understate the fact that it's great to be together in person this year. We've streamed for the last 2 years, so to be here with you together today is a wonderful experience. And for the first time in the festival's history, we are live streaming it from the film theater. So I also want to welcome all of you who are watching today remotely, either from DAFT website at daftonline.org or on My Michigan TV. As you're coming into the theater, the video that was playing highlighted some work from the DAFT program called Community Albums. Students from the Detroit School of Arts got a chance to create mini documentaries and animation based on their communities and families and stories. The next spot featured a great supporter of DAFT, which was the Michigan Film and Digital Media Office. Then we watched an ad from 1982 that probably rang a bell for one or two of the parents and teachers in the crowd. It was the world-famous spot for the Detroit Zoo created by Ron Castori, whom you can read about on page 2 of your program. Now, Ron passed away of pancreatic cancer, and it is in his memory that Mary Beth Castori, his wife and business partner of such memorable Detroit ads, such as the 1980 Detroit Zoo spots, has kindly contributed to our festival, allowing us to continue offering prizes for student work, a full-color festival program, as well as supporting so many vital behind-the-scenes operational features. And finally, oh, yes, let's hear it, thank you. And finally, we paid tribute to a wonderful woman you saw interviewed in the Community Albums video. For decades, she was extremely influential in the Detroit media world. Journalist Karen Hudson Samuels, a former news director at Detroit's WGPR-TV, the first black-owned television station in the United States, died in 2021. Until her death, she volunteered to run the William V. Banks Broadcast Museum located in the old WGPR-TV studios right here in Detroit. Now, take a moment and look around. You are in one of the jewels of Detroit, the Detroit Film Theater built in the 20s. The amazing leadership of the DIA and its creative and ambitious auxiliary, the Friends of the Detroit Film Theater, are responsible for the beautiful restoration. We cannot thank the DIA and the Detroit Film Theater enough for its long-standing partnership with DAFT. We'd like to thank especially Larry Bransky, Emily Boyer, Julie Humantel, Ben Kempers, Kate Lauerman, Gwen Lindsay, and of course, Elliot Wilhelm for their annual support. Thank you. Now, it takes an army of judges to view the entries from the festival, and we are thrilled to have so many judges take part this year in either our first or second round of judging, either virtually or in person at Lawrence Technological University. Many of them are here today, and I'd ask if they could stand so we could please thank them for their expertise and time in judging this wonderful student work. Please rise. Now, behind every great student is generally a media teacher who has the key to the equipment cabinet, and they do more than that, as we all know. Now, inside your program, you'll find the names of so many dedicated teachers and coaches who made such a difference in this year's over 370 plus submissions, the most we've ever had in the history of the festival. Now, each year, DAFT chooses a teacher that deserves to be honored, and this year's 2022 Media Teacher of the Year is a longtime friend and former board member of DAFT, Ilya Tolbert. You can read all about Ilya inside the back cover of your program, including his great work with elementary students in Detroit. Now, Ilya is not here currently. He was here this morning for the elementary. Is he here? He made it back. He said he was not going to be here. All right, Ilya. All right. Thanks for coming back, Ilya. Great work, and we're proud of you. Now, please look over your program for our special donors listed, especially the terrific staff of the DIA's Detroit Film Theater, and most notably, Michigan Arts and Culture Council, National Endowment for the Arts, and the Michigan Film and Digital Media Office, who, along with Mary Beth Castori, have provided major donations responsible for so much of what has kept DAFT going for this half century, and especially over the past 2 years. We are very fortunate to have the following colleges providing scholarships this year for senior high level Best of Show awardees: the Motion Picture Institute, University of Detroit Mercy, the College for Creative Studies, and Lawrence Technological University. And of course, thanks to Buddy's Pizza, especially Michelle Lawton, Katie Palatka, and the Buddies on Northwestern Highway in Farmington Hills, not only for feeding our hungry judges on May 7th, but Buddies is responsible for the great t-shirts our Best of Show students may be wearing right now, and you sure can't miss them in that yellow, can you? No. Again, please check your program for more information on our amazing sponsors listed and on the screen behind me, and please support them. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our MC for the day, one of the best in the business. Toddy Amari is the host of Live in the D, which airs weekdays at 10 a.m. on WDIV Channel 4 Detroit. She's an award-winning producer, and we are thrilled to welcome her to this year's festival. Please give a nice round of applause to Tati Mari.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And good morning to all of you. This is such an exciting event, isn't it? It is indeed a pleasure to be here with you this morning to be part of the Michigan Student Film Festival's 54th awards ceremony. I'm super excited. So I was here for the K through 8th grade. They blew me away, so I know these are going to blow me away even more, so I'm so excited. And a great job again to our Educator of the Year, Ilya Tolbert. I am really looking forward to seeing all of the work that you guys have done today here on the big screen, which is super exciting. It's just so exciting to me. I mean, I understand the work and the effort that it takes to put together these kind of segments, whether they're short, whether they're long, whether they're telling a story, whether it's an animation, whatever it is. So as someone who has been working in this business and knowing how much work goes into it, I just want all of the students here to know how much I appreciate all the work and all the effort that it takes to put this together. And you guys are all marvelous, and you're going to be incredible story makers and storytellers in the future. And as Mike mentioned, due to the kindness of our many donors, we are thrilled to once again offer some special prizes in our 9th through 12th grade senior division. They include a $250 Pro-Cam gift card for Best PSA, Best News or Sportscast, Best Music Video, and Best Animation. We are excited to once again offer a $500 cash prize for the John Prusak Visionary Award for the Best Documentary and a $500 cash prize for the Best Narrative Film. The entries that will receive these two prizes will be announced during this ceremony. And of course, I invite you to take a look at that awesome program in front of you. This year, DAFT again sponsored a festival program design cover contest, which was open to all high school art students. We received some great entries, of course, and I'm happy to congratulate 2 students from William D. Ford Career Technical Center in Wayne, Westland for their winning designs. Kiera Underwood, whose design is on the poster, and Alyssa Bell, whose design is on this year's festival t-shirt. So Kiera and Alyssa, please stand to be recognized if you're here. Yes, wonderful work, and they each receive a cash prize for their beautiful designs. And we also want to congratulate 2 more students from Romeo High School, Nicholas Harilko and Mac Platt, who received honorable mention for their designs along with the cash prize as well. Now, for those who may not be familiar with the judging process and what each of the award levels mean, feel free to take a look at page 6. In the first round judging, up to 5 minutes of each video is viewed to determine if the work should be awarded merit, honor, excellence, or if it should be considered for best of show. Schools and students' names are not revealed to the judges, and the judging rooms get random distribution of each school's submission. Each juror makes notes on the judging forms, which will be returned to the students early next week. Now, this type of feedback is the one thing that makes our festival unique in comparison to the other festivals throughout the country. Based on the input received from the first round, the second round of judging with media pros and college instructors determines the best of show honorees whose films you will see today. Inside your program, you'll see over 360 submissions we received from high school students from across the state, and we also include an index of each school so you can look up all awards that each school received. Now, without further ado, let's enjoy the Senior Best of Show Festival Reel, and I'll be back after it is concluded to hand out awards. Enjoy the show, everyone. Thank you.
This past weekend, we lost an hour of sleep to daylight savings time, but most students here only have a vague impression of why we even do it. So let's find out if it's worth the price.
It's a really irritating thing. I don't even lose sleep, I just don't sleep.
On Monday, I slept an hour later than my alarm.
The sunsets, they're really beautiful when it comes down early, but I don't like how it makes some people tired easily.
Monday and Tuesday I was late to school, and today I'm late to school, so I've been late.
But why do we observe daylight savings? What's the reason behind it? Well, according to webexhibits.org, one reason is to save energy. During the winter, we have less daylight, but as we head towards summer, it increases both into the evening and the morning. Because it extends into the morning, you're missing out on quite a bit of it by sleeping. Daylight savings pushes the clock back an hour so that this hour of sun isn't wasted while you're still asleep. It takes energy to light and warm up homes, and this is something that sunlight is very helpful for, so pushing that hour of light into the afternoon cuts down on energy consumption later in the day. This means more resources can go into something like World War I. This was the purpose of its first introduction in the States. This need to conserve energy isn't so much the case anymore, at least in part due to a greater total amount of energy, of which lighting and heating represent fairly little. Additionally, daylight is becoming less culturally significant as more people spend their evenings at home with technology and feel less limited to daylight hours for their nights on the town. But do Lakers agree that it's time to change the time change?
My mom's in India right now, and they don't do it there, and their life is completely normal.
I think it's mostly mixed, honestly.
Since we have more daylight, I think that's cool, but losing an hour of sleep is not fun when you have school and work the next day, so I'm not a fan.
I just think it's not really needed.
Whether or not daylight savings time will stick around is a question for the future, but for now, make sure to set your clocks forward and backward when the appropriate time comes. This has been Maxwell Gottesman reporting for your Live Laker Update.
You're gonna be okay. You're gonna make new friends. Be positive. I love you.
Hey, listen, you guys. I need your attention really fast, okay? So we have a new student starting today in our classroom. She's also in my homeroom, so I got to meet her this morning, and she's super sweet, and she's nice, and she's smart. She's deaf. So, and I know that's unique for a school like this, but anything you could do to help her out would be greatly appreciated.
How would she know that?
Okay, so business as usual. Let's jump right back into Othello. We were Act 2, Scene 3. Okay.
How was your day?
Fall into this cycle about 2 times a month. Every mistake I make won't happen just once, 'cause I can't seem to figure out right from wrong. I break down on the weekdays, nothing good ever stays, and it always seems to be my fault. Getting high won't clear your mind, breaking rules won't clear your conscience. Keep yourself busy, ignore all the problems you have. Sneaking around won't build any trust, and just feeling bad won't show any love. Trying to do everything you can't. I seem to think about it all night and day, but these old habits just won't go away. I feel like I'm losing all self-control. I know that I'm young and I make mistakes, but what's it worth with so much at stake? Getting high won't clear your mind, breaking rules won't clear your conscience. Keep yourself busy, ignore all the problems you have. Sneaking around won't build any trust, and just feeling bad won't show any love. Trying to do everything you can. Oh, I know that things will be okay, but I'm crying anyways. At some point you will break. Oh, I know that things will be okay, but I'm crying anyways. At some point you will break. Trying to do everything you can't.
This is truly the last time, Mrs. Schwartz.
My sister Leah had always been rough around the edges.
Please open up!
And I was never like her. But we were still best friends. But she left to get better, and I was left alone. And because of that, I wanted nothing to do with her.
Honey, she's coming home.
But we're going on the beach trip this weekend.
I got stuck on a big case this weekend, so I was thinking maybe Leah could take you?
No, seriously, why are you letting people push you around like that? You think I would have let people push me around like that?
I'm not like you. It's always Leah needs this, Leah needs that. Don't forget to visit Leah today. What about me?
All this time, it's been you and me.
I know you. I know the real you. You'd be out there right now partying. I don't know what your problem is.
Okay, but that's not me anymore. I never thought I'd see this place again.
I never thought you'd see it either.
Looks like there's a new community space in Michigan. It's funky, it's fun, and it's all in the name for mental wellness. Words of Hope for Life, The Rail, opened just this month in Commerce Township, Michigan. Their mission is to develop and implement new and innovative ways to integrate mental wellness into communities. One way they reach that mission is using art therapy. Let's dig deeper into how they use art here at The Rail.
So I'm Nikki O'Donnell, and I am a child psychologist. I'm also the executive director of Words of Hope for Life and The Rail.
I am Glenn Schwartz, and I am the executive director, chairman of the board for Words of Hope for Life.
So The Rail is the home to Words of Hope for Life, which is our nonprofit. We're a mental health action nonprofit. So The Rail really is the community space where we're doing a lot of our programming and event planning. It's kind of a community connecting point so that we can work with other cool nonprofits and people in the community that are doing also really awesome things to support mental health.
It's a safe place for people to come, to gather, to talk, to enjoy programs, or maybe meet new people.
Well, how does art come into play?
Art is sort of the connecting point that I think sort of like climbs over the barriers that we have with the stigma to mental health. So I'll utilize that particularly with young people in all kinds of ways. I work with teens quite a bit, and I love to teach about mindfulness and meditation. But if I go to my teens that I'm working with and say, we're gonna do mindfulness and meditation, I'll usually just get a lot of blank stares or like, oh, that sounds weird. But if we're doing something that incorporates art that just so happens to be something that's gonna strengthen mindfulness skills, and it's kind of connecting into giving them a way to express themselves, maybe that they didn't have before, then art is like the perfect marriage of all of those things. So we'll do things like for mindfulness, we make these really fun, I call them meditation jars, but it's like a container with glitter, and we add glue, and the glitter sort of falls at different rates. You can, change the colors and things, and it just so happens to be a really great meditation tool. It's also really fun. In addition to that, even just things like letting kids or exposing people to different mediums, like acrylic paints as opposed to watercolor, and sort of allowing them to explore themselves that way. Because you don't have to be good at it. Like maybe I'm not very comfortable with painting, and I'm terrible at it. And maybe this is my default, is to kind of self-sabotage or kind of beat myself up. That's a perfect opportunity to explore that. Like, well, what happens if I'm trying something that maybe I know I'm not good at, but I'm gonna practice some self-acceptance and grace and let myself go for it. A lot of what we do, whether it's through our art therapy programs, community outreach, our festivals, we want to empower our communities to build resiliency.
That's part of the main letter in RAIL, which is R.
And they do just that. Here are a few examples of how they use art to meet that goal.
At ViewFest 2021, an army of people, colored and put positive messages on 50,000 Hug Buddy postcards. And Hug Buddy postcards, it was basically just a postcard where anybody could send to a loved one, someone in need, someone that may need a virtual hug. We had all of the schools in the Lakes Area District participated, colored cards, and put a positive message on them. We then subsequently took all of those cards and we broke the Guinness Book of World Record for the longest consecutive line of postcards, which was 2.8 miles of cards. Probably the most important thing to me was you never know what your reach is going to be. You never know what your impact is going to be. But we know from the feedback that we received that people who received those cards, it put a smile on their face. And if we can say that we did that for one person or saved one life, then it was well worth it.
They are also the creators of these furry friends, Muwats. Mentally unstable on a table, your super stressed out sidekick. Let's learn more about how the Muwat is used for expression.
There was born our little Muats. No two are alike. They're so fun to create and to sort of think about the different things that we use, whether it's the shoes. It's fun to see kids doodle on their, the little shoes of the Muat and kind of personalize it in their own way, which again is just a different way to kind of have self-expression. It's funny to see people say, ooh, I really like this Muat just speaks to me.
Here's some responses about how people feel when they partake in activities at the rail.
I am here making a drawing on this canvas, and now I'm not finished, but I'm making an ocean.
Okay, so how does it make you feel to do all that?
This drawing kind of made me feel calm because, when I'm at the beach, I usually like to relax. Yeah, calm.
It allows for people to come in and experience maybe some kinds of art or types of expression that they haven't had the opportunity for, and then also kind of connecting people together through that kind of, expression and just art. It's just fun. So the rail is a place for all of that magic to happen.
Welcome to Food Review. So on this episode, we went to Detroit to find some authentic Detroit-style pizza at Louis Pizza. Well, unfortunately, there was a wait at Louis Pizza. So, we went to this random corner burger shop called Bray's. We're gonna rate it on 3 different aspects: the atmosphere, the taste, and the price. Atmosphere of the burger joint was very 50s-esque. My favorite part was definitely the giant 3D monkey on top of the building, along with several others such as the broken Pac-Man machine and the broken jukebox. Gotta be a 10 out of 10 for the atmosphere. Regarding the taste, I could compare it to something like White Castle, but imagine if White Castle was actually good. 10 out of 10 as well. Price for a double cheeseburger and a large drink was only $6.50, and with rising inflation costs, we gave it a 10 out of 10 for price. Overall, we think you should go there with your friends right now.
You're not feeling bright, I can tell. Your core says you're stuck in a shell. You're this way every day, say I'm fine. 30 years since your life's been in line. You generate right, but never enough. So you get stuck, but you know why. It's just your luck, you're just that guy. Don't you feel thermal? Such a relief, but it's only here. It's hot, can you believe it? You see the light, you take flight. It's hot, can't you hear it? We're proud, it's loud on this crowded cloud. It's hot, it's intense, it's infatuating. It's thermal. You know it is thermal. You're blazing now, can't you see? You're not lost anymore, now you're free. This could be you all the time till you die. There's time to be gold and there's time to shine. The hell with the past, this is electrifying. So you got stuck, but you knew why. With just your luck.
More than 2 million teens vape in the US, a quarter of them daily. The use of vapes in teens remains a serious public health problem, even during the pandemic.
There was a youth vaping epidemic in this country before the coronavirus.
I think that a lot of youth in the US are using these products because they are very sleek and they have a ton of flavors. A lot of the times, these tobacco companies that own the vaping companies and devices and things like that, they know how to market to youth. They know what flavors you guys are interested in. They know the designs of the devices that are going to be enticing.
More than 20% of high schoolers vape and 5% of middle schoolers vape.
I think a lot of kids just aren't aware of the dangers that they're exposing themselves to. I think with the way it's marketed, kids believe that it's a safe thing to do.
The FDA has delayed making a decision on how to regulate many vape products. E-cigarette products have been allowed to remain on the market for years, even though none have been given the official green light by the FDA.
The Food and Drug Administration took a half measure, only partially clearing the market and leaving major loopholes for this powerful industry.
The government and the FDA is starting to try to make good headway about these products, but there is still a lot more that needs to be done.
Kids migrated to these loopholes, to the products that remained unregulated on the market, menthol-flavored e-cigarettes and disposable vaping products.
When it comes to why teens themselves say they vape, many of them say it started from a social connection.
The first time that I think that I ever vaped was probably around my friends in my sophomore year of high school. It was kind of a peer pressure situation. Right after that, I was just hooked. It was just mostly a main influence of my friends and people that I was around all the time, almost every day after school. In school, whether it was in the bathroom, in the locker room, it didn't matter. They were there and they had it and they influenced me to do it.
I think that it's easy to be peer pressured into vaping, especially because it has been normalized in society. I have chosen to stay away from vaping because I have a lot of family members and friends who have become addicted to it. A lot of teens are addicted to vaping because it has been so normalized, and a lot of people also don't realize how much it can negatively impact your health and your future health as well.
You know, we don't know about all of the compounds that are in these devices yet and what their long-term effect is going to be on their lungs. And I think there's a misconception that this is safe and it's fun and it tastes good and it doesn't smell bad.
You might hear that it's safer to use, it's healthier to use, you won't get addicted to nicotine. But you know, these products are unregulated and there's such high levels of nicotine in these products where you would probably more likely get addicted to using nicotine products by using vape products, because the nicotine content is so high that you know, your brain is going to want more.
Vaping during the end before I quit definitely made me feel physically horrible. It was hard to breathe, chest aches, just an overall feeling of lousiness. Mentally, it was definitely worse for me. I really think that it made my anxiety worse. There's really no way to describe how you feel.
With so many underage kids addicted to vaping today, it's up to the government and teens to take action. What has the federal government already done about this issue?
There was a flavor ban that was set in place back in 2019, which meant that there were certain products that could not sell flavors anymore.
But this still isn't enough.
To end the youth vaping epidemic, you'll have to deny the applications for all products with the same characteristics that made Juul so popular with a generation of children. Because we've watched in real time that whenever a popular flavor is removed from the market, other flavored high nicotine products take their place.
As a nursing aide at Beaumont, something that I would love to do is make the change for kids my age to stop the vaping and create a better lifestyle for themselves and to have a good future.
Having people interested in wanting to make sure that better policy is in place, then I think that that will really help to get these products out of the hands of youth.
Teens are smart, and if they're given the information, they can process this. I think it would help a lot in decreasing the numbers of kids who use this.
I would tell kids that are interested in trying vaping, don't try. It's really not worth it.
Flavor bans are not stopping teens from vaping and from getting them underage. We will have to do more to help cut off the teen vaping epidemic.
Skies were blue, pretty too, but the ache in my chest just made it seem cruel. Oh, oh, it's the loneliest of time. Face the yard, climbed the stairs, walked up the hill and had to catch my breath. Your old house It's the loneliest of times. You were a lion, I bared my throat for you. I was your songbird, chirping out a tune. A fool, a fool.
Students in Mr. Sauer's zoology classes conducted a unique experiment this past week. We stopped by to find out what was going on in the lab.
So zoology classes have been doing the mouse maze project for over 20 years. I've been doing it for 20 years, and Mr. Coaster was the zoology teacher before I started here, and he ran it for I don't know how many years, so they've been going on for a long time. We have varying levels of success. Most of the students are pretty successful getting their mice to learn the maze. Occasionally not so well, but at the beginning of the project I show students a video where mice run through these mazes in 3, 4, 5 seconds. They really zip through them.
Yeah, so our group, we're using positive reinforcement. I think all the groups are doing that. We tried using treats, and then also our mouse particularly likes to hide. So we have his little hide at the end of the maze, and he's allowed to kind of go in there and just chill out at the end of the maze, and that's his reward. Personally, I'm taking 2 of the mice home, and so they're my new pets, and we're like best friends. And so I just really enjoy being around them. They're really sweet and really cute. So
every single day we see if before we see if they like food, if they like to hide, if they like to run around in their ball, and we use that to try and get them to move through the maze. And basically, yeah, that's it. So we time them like a few times each round and see if they get better each time.
So the mice are all fed and watered every day. They're all kept in clean bedding in the cages. They have plenty of room, things like that. You know, we don't use any negative reinforcement. It's all positive reinforcement. So the students are treating them well. We sometimes have students that are concerned about the welfare of the mice, so we take good care of them. And then at the end of the project, they're up for adoption. So the students who use them in zoology get first crack at them. And then if they do not want to adopt them, then it's open to other students in the school to adopt them as well. If any mice are not adopted at all, we have a really good working relationship with Pet Supplies Plus up in Oxford, and they'll take any unadopted mice back to their store. So they're all find a home.
If you're interested in adopting a mouse, see Mr. Stowers in room G703 after school today. Mice will be available on a first-come, first-served basis until they are gone. Make sure to bring in a container to bring your new pet home.
I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of going to bed every night, hoping the next day will be better when it never is. just so tired. I'm tired of pretending and being someone I'm not. I don't know how else to make it stop. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad.
Don't worry, you'll be fine. Don't forget about Pop-Tart stuff.
When do I ever forget?
You forgot yesterday.
Okay, that was literally once.
Okay, I gotta go. I'll see you tomorrow.
Look, honey, you can't just keep pulling in here. Okay, I know you're hurting. We all are. But he's gone. get them back, I'd do anything, but I can't. I'm sorry.
See you tomorrow. I love you.
Wait, I got you. And I screen recorded it because you always lie about it.
You kidding me? I hate you. Bye.
Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die. So come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views.
Where do we go with our fears? We feel powerless to prevent this kind of tragedy. We mourn the brokenness of a culture where children kill children.
We spend large portions of our day and large portions of our lives in school, in a classroom setting, and to, wake up every day and go to this place and wonder, is this going to be the place where I die? It has a serious toll on our mental health.
Evangeline Oster is a student at Royal Oak High School, located about 30 miles from Oxford, Michigan.
There's just so many thoughts going through your head, and it happens at the most inopportune times. I'll just be sitting in silence in my class and I'll just be overwhelmed with the fear, what if this happens,
The threat of school shootings has lingered in students' and educators' minds ever since the massacre at Columbine High School in 1999.
In 2019, about 35,000 Americans died from gun violence. In 2020, we saw that number rise to 40,000. And in 2021, we expected those numbers to grow.
Students in the last 10 years have certainly learned to hide.
School shootings can have negative effects on students' well-beings, creating a distraction from the learning that is supposed to be done in schools.
It really has a deep impact in individuals' lives, in families, and in our communities. And it's something that is preventable. We don't have to live like this.
A ripple of pain, trauma, and survivor's guilt
occurs following every instance of gun violence.
It makes people uneasy, it makes them uncomfortable, it makes them scared.
And these are really questions and things we shouldn't have to think about as students, but they are.
So, what can our federal government do in order to solve this issue?
There's a question of what can be done and what should be done.
I absolutely think that the government and state officials have a significant role in this. Schools don't issue firearms to people. We don't license firearms. We don't make the laws around firearms.
Everybody, every level of government has a responsibility and a role to play in ending gun violence.
So we're training staff and kids to be as alert and aware as possible. But at some point, our ability to control whether somebody gets a weapon is just not there, right? That's somebody else's responsibility.
There are a number of bills that should be passed, and here in Michigan, there are a number of bills that have been waiting in committee for years, never even allowed a hearing, and this includes from strengthening our background check system, from preventing convicted domestic abusers from possessing firearms, from creating waiting periods for people who, shouldn't buy a firearm in the heat of a moment or an argument, but should wait a couple of days.
I ask you for this moment to put yourself in the shoes of the families in places like Columbine, Sandy Hook, Parkland, Santa Fe, Noblesville, and now Oxford, Michigan. And I ask you to refuse to be powerless in the powerful body that is the U.S. Congress.
We really haven't seen that much action from our elected officials on this issue. So ultimately, we're trying to raise our concerns, but I think a lot of students feel that their voices are not being heard when they're going to school every day and worrying about these issues.
We just need to stop talking. There can't be thoughts and prayers anymore, because thoughts and prayers only get you so far.
We do need to look to our state and federal governments to do the right thing and pass these common sense gun violence prevention measures.
We need to prevent this from happening to other kids and other families.
Due to the lack of action being taken by people in power, students across the country have been fighting for change.
You are powerful, you can make change, you can impact your community and your legislators' opinions.
This is not a mere publicity stunt, a single day in the span of history. This is a movement. This is a movement relying on the persistence and the passion of its people.
I found my voice in this movement after the Parkland shooting that felt eerily similar to my own story.
There are so many ways for young people to get involved, and as more young people get involved, the larger our movement grows and the more pressure is put upon elected officials to listen to us, to our wants, our needs, and our demands.
Although young people are fighting for change, we can't move forward unless our federal government begins to listen to these calls for action. Students are being affected by this issue every day, and nothing will change unless that happens.
There's certain classes where, it's just a simple thing where I look around and I'm just overwhelmed with the fact that there's no escape route.
Every time I got a new classroom, a new schedule, the first thing I did when I sat down was I checked the room, I counted the windows. How far was I sitting away from the door? Was there a closet?
It's clear that this is a lingering issue, and something needs to be done so that students and staff feel safe at school.
People need to put lives that are here on this earth before their liberties.
This is really a group effort, and we need all hands on deck.
Gonna drink and drive home tonight, are you?
Well, are you? When you drink and drive, the party's over.
Holiday Cruise Line. I'm Julia Wilkins.
And I'm Cole Tucker. We are so excited to have you here.
Cole, the big man will be here in 8 days.
Oh my goodness, Christmas has just snuck up upon us real quick.
Do you ever have a problem wrapping gifts?
Oh, you have no idea.
Well, lucky for you and everyone else who doesn't know how to wrap gifts, Abby has a few tips for us.
It's that time of year. Christmas is around the corner and presents need to make their way under the tree. But wrapping Christmas presents can be such a nightmare. Sticky, messy tape, odd shapes that you just don't know how to wrap. It can get really frustrating. And never enough paper, leading to patchwork jobs that just don't satisfy. But never fear, Abby is here to ease the stress. Hi, I'm Abby Lenaway, and I'm here to bring you a bit of a Christmas miracle. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to wrap Christmas presents like a pro without all the hassle. Let's start off with something simple. Here, we have a small box. It's a microphone. It's a present for my sister. We're gonna roll out our paper. We're gonna take that item and we're gonna roll it over until the ends meet. And we're gonna cut it with a little bit of excess room. Make sure you're careful when you're cutting, otherwise the paper can tear if you try to glide. How far do I cut? You wanna line your present up at the edge of your paper to fold up about halfway. Now we have our sheet of paper and our present. So to begin, you're just gonna fold up your edges and make sure that they meet, and try to line up the pattern if you can. It'll look really pretty. Ta-da! Once you've made it this far, I like to fold in my edges, and then I like to take it and cut the tops, just where I need it. And ta-da, we're finished. All wrapped, that's the most basic way to wrap a Christmas present. Now, if you want to get a little bit more fancy, you can take some pipe cleaners, or some garland, or wire string, or you can even take some of these party beads that you can get at the dollar store. They'll make a wonderful wrap. I think I'm gonna go with these holly ones. I think they're very festive. I'm gonna place my wire under my present, and we're gonna take these two pieces, cross them over, give it a nice twist around, and I'm gonna bring it back around the present. I'm gonna take this marker and I'm gonna wrap this wire around it to give it a nice curled look. Give it a good scrunch, make sure it's tight, and boom. Lovely little curls on top of your present. Now to cover up this section in the middle, I always like to put a bow here, just to make it extra festive. And ta-da! Our Christmas present is all done. I hope this was helpful, and now you can wrap your Christmas presents like a pro this year. Happy holidays.
I feel like I just watched a Martha Stewart video. That was amazing. I feel like I can wrap anything.
I'm already a wrapping pro and I'm still learning.
Yeah, no, not me. Well, next up we have a hilarious man on the street interview by the one and only Micah and Mariah.
Hi, my name is Michael Martin.
And I'm Mariah Davis.
And today we're going to take a spin on into Lance Cruz High School and ask our friends
some Christmassy questions.
Let's hop on in. Let's jump.
Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane.
He's got a bag that's filled with toys for boys and girls again.
So what are you looking forward to most for this Christmas break?
Probably a lot of sleep.
A lot of sleep. You got to catch up on that.
Yeah.
It's been a rough year, right?
Yeah.
It all started one day when I was happily eating a bag of chips and I heard a knock at my door. And there it was. Somebody left a stuffed animal on my porch. But it wasn't any stuffed animal. It was a schnauzer. I thought about it for a while. Why would someone leave a schnauzer on my porch? I put it in the closet and went back to enjoying my day. Then it started. The schnauzer went rogue. Everywhere I went, there he was. I mean, everywhere. Sometimes in life, you just have to accept things because there's a crazy world we're living in.
hungry?
No.
What's going on?
I don't feel good. Can you just call in for me?
Okay. Why don't you go get out of that and go lay down?
Over 600 students from around southeastern Michigan were here at LOHS on Saturday. They traveled to LO for a DECA competition. Ryan Wilbert has the story.
DECA is the Distributive Education Clubs of America, made up of students interested in learning marketing. Today I'm here at Lake Orion High School as they hosted a competition made up of over 600 students across 27 different schools.
We had several students win today. We had many kids win for the test medal and the role play medal and overall state qualifiers.
Yeah, I think it was really good. A lot of new members got medals, which is awesome. It was really crowded, which is good to see for the district, and overall I think it went really well. So I was in the quick service restaurant management category, and I got the best role play, the best test, and an overall. Yeah, so our next competition is states, which is in March in Detroit, and we just run through practice role plays, kind of get used to speaking in front of judges, and overall just kind of practice talking.
Probably like practice by doing more like practice role plays, brush up on our principles of business, you know, research some like good-looking, good-sounding terminology, stuff like that.
So for the state conference in March, we'll continue to practice what we've been doing at our meetings on Tuesdays, really just practicing handshakes, eye contact, making sure that you are using all the content that you can, just being overly prepared.
The team's next competition is in March, and I'm sure they'll be working very hard to prepare. For WDBC, I'm Ryan Wilbert.
Congratulations to all the members who won awards. The Lake Orion DECA group is moving on to states, which is hosted in Detroit this March.
think it's a big problem when you can't think about any law out there in the world, in the United States, that tells men what to do with their body.
Good evening. In a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court today legalized abortions. The majority in cases from Texas and Georgia said that the decision to end a pregnancy during the first 3 months belongs to the woman and her doctor, not the government. Thus, the anti-abortion laws of 46 states were rendered unconstitutional.
$10,000, that's how much money people in Texas can now win in court by successfully suing anyone who helps a woman get an abortion after 6 weeks. That would include a doctor who performs it, a person who helps pay for it, even someone who drives a woman to an abortion clinic. That is all now legal in Texas.
And basically that's saying you just can't have an abortion, because most women don't even notice that they're pregnant until after 6 weeks, actually. So that's a huge problem. Over time, if you look historically, those states that have the worst anti-abortion laws actually have the worst outcomes for maternal and infant health, which means we have a lot of babies being born and women going through pregnancies that they didn't want, and we have poorer health for those females, women and their children. When an abortion happens, for some people, it can be hard, and a lot comes up, for sure, because we're human with brains. But once it's processed and can make sense of that decision for themselves, I think that a lot of folks recognize that this was the decision that needed to be made, and it was the right decision for them.
I had an abortion, and I do not regret it, because if I hadn't had the abortion, I would be stuck with an ex-husband. We didn't get along. I'd be stuck in a state I didn't want to be in, and I wouldn't be here today. So, and I do not regret it.
Again, more so why we want it to be fully accessible and safe and done in a professional manner by a good provider, so that it becomes less traumatizing. And you have a provider who's knowledgeable and is walking through the person, through the experience, educating, communicating what's going to be happening, what to expect.
I'm here because I'm a healthcare provider, so I take care of people who make these decisions, and I know about so many other people that this is a decision that somebody should be making with their healthcare provider and not with the government. I have known literally thousands of people whose lives have changed because of abortion care. Yeah.
Now is the time, it's always been the time to continue to fight in our country for this human right. So I think that we all need to start having these conversations to make people aware of what could be coming to our state. And let's start talking about it, right? Let's start voicing our support, for keeping abortion as an option for folks.
I know your car broke down, but I have a meeting to get to at 2, so I can't drive you anymore.
Alright, I'll figure something out.
You know you could always take the bus.
What bus?
The Smart Bus website is telling me that 20% of Michigan residents are living in a quarter-mile radius from a smart bus stop. However, I'm over here living in suburban Troy, Michigan, and the closest one to me is over a mile away. When I got options like Uber and Lyft, which seem to be much more direct, why would I take a bus? I needed to find out. We've made it to our stop, 494. We tried looking online, not really sure how I'm supposed to get the pass. It says buy a pass here, but we're gonna have to figure that out. Michigan is the birthplace of the auto industry. To this day, vehicle production is the single most important factor in the Michigan economy. We take pride in our cars, in the history behind them, which is why I was blown away to hear that Michigan is the most expensive state for car ownership. On average, it costs $5,300 every year to own a car. In Michigan, however, that number rises to $9,300. The most expensive state for car ownership mixed with an impractical public transportation system, and you're bound to crash. With that thought in mind, my bus arrived. We just made it on the bus. It came only 2 or 3 minutes late. Bus fare is $2 a person for this bus. We're on our way to the station and we're gonna catch our next one. My journey was going to require a lengthy detour, one that took me in the opposite direction. Riding the bus, I was a part of 71% of smart passengers using the system to get to work. The 2.5-hour ride and the walk adds an extra 5 hours to the normal 9 to 5. 5 extra hours, 5 hours wasted every day. This wouldn't be the case for everyone, but here we are. Here's the dilemma Michigan residents have to face every day. Do I spend a ridiculous amount of money buying and maintaining the car, which will leave me penniless but get me to work on time? Or do I ride the bus for a cheap fare but lose 20% of my life? This example might be extreme, but guess what? It's real, and the people are real too. We're at the bus station now. We got here around 10:55, 11. Our next bus is supposed to be here 11:06. This one's got 61 stops. Michigan claimed to spend $253 million on public transport last year alone. Being on the bus and at the station made me wonder where the hell all that money went. All right, this is bus number 2. We got 53 minutes left until we're off this thing. Only thing good, this bus got much cooler seats. There's no scenario in which this would work for me on a daily basis. So what is the answer? Should we just pour more money into the problem? The average homeowner spends $50 per year supporting the smart bus system, but as I looked around, it did not look to be getting that much usage for all that money. See maybe 5 or 6 people on the bus total. Don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. It seems like more of a cultural problem, that our Metro Detroit community is really a car community. That may be too big of an issue for this reporter to address, because, well, we left at 9:40 this morning? Long trip. It's 12:01, I just made it to work. Now I gotta go there. The bus, I'm walking home tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of 2 Minute Warning. As always, I'm Jack Stager. Next to me is Gabe Pereno. Gabe, we got a few things to talk about, including the MLB and our own special edition of the top 5 NBA of all time with the NBA playoffs intact. So Gabe, lead us off with the Tigers and the MLB.
Yeah, so the Tigers season is further underway. Heading into the New York series, they're 4-5. So sitting around that 500 mark. And one of the biggest headlines for me and what I want to see in the upcoming games is Miguel Cabrera. If many of you who do not know, He's closing in on 3,000 hits in his career, and I think that is going to be exciting to watch, as last season we got to witness him hitting over 500 home runs, so another big milestone for Miguel Cabrera in the upcoming games. And then when we look at the young core and what they've been able to impact on the team so far, we got Spencer Torkelson, who currently has 2 home runs and 5 RBIs, and he's leading the team in both those categories. But one of the biggest downers so far is the amount of injuries that the Tigers have been able to get in the first couple games, which is obviously not great to see, as we see Javi Baez, Casey Mize, and Spencer Turnbull, who was out for spring training. He's still rehabbing from Tommy John surgery, so unfortunate. And we're just going to have to hope that a lot, or at least the majority of these players sort of heal in the upcoming days. I know Javi Baez was on a 10-day injury list, so that's something to look out for. But I'm mostly excited for Miguel Cabrera finally hitting that 3,000 hit.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, like you said, it's great for Miguel Cabrera to reach this milestone, and he's about to. Obviously, we all saw him reach the 500 mark for home runs last season. So it's just something that we were all expecting to see as a Tigers fan, because, you know, he's been such a great for Detroit sports in the past few years and being on the Tigers his whole career. So that's really interesting to see and really surprising for Tigers fans to really have such a big great in Miguel Cabrera, staying this long and still performing at an elite level. The Tigers are 4-6, like you said, and they went 1-2 in their series against Boston, and they went 2-1 in their series against Kansas City. So kind of the flip side, little 50-50 there with the 1-2 and the 2-1. And then looking forward, their next series is going to be against New York, and then the Colorado Rockies, who are currently ranked number 2nd in the MLB. And then the Minnesota Twins, they play after that. So overall for the Tigers, it's just kind of a waiting game. Like you were talking about with the injuries, it's very unfortunate because once the Tigers get a full healthy team, and once we get some games under our belt and start to get those momentum victories and in those series that we can really perform to our potential, I think the Tigers will start to get some wins, and we'll see the potential that this team can have in the future. But as of right now, it's just kind of a waiting game. It's very, very early into the season, and this weather isn't helping either. We did have one postponed game in the Kansas City series as well. So overall for the Tigers, just a lot of things that still need to get figured out. But once everything starts rolling, I think this well-oiled machine in Detroit will start to move.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you on that. One of the biggest things too for me, I forgot to add in my first statement, is that, you know, that we just have to get the bats going. And a couple of our games this year, especially against Kansas City, you know, it's just been pretty stale on the offensive end for us. I just think we need to get the bats going a little bit early, jump out to those 1-2 run leads at the beginning of those games, and we should be in good hands in the weeks to come. So with that.
Lily, are you finished?
Yes, ma'am.
You may be excused.
Make sure you clean your tray.
Okay, Mama.
May I be excused?
Not just yet. There's something we'd like to discuss with you.
What?
Your new friend? We are concerned.
What about it?
We just don't think it's a good idea for you to spend time with her.
Why not?
Because she is not like us.
But I really like her.
I forbid you see her no more, understand?
Yes, sir. May I be excused?
Yes.
Are you going out?
May I?
Yeah. Just wear your helmet.
Yes, ma'am.
How great was that? These students are incredibly talented. Let's give them another round of applause. All right, you guys ready to hand out some awards? You ready? All right, let's get into it. Now, students, when I call your name, come up to the stage via the door stage left, where you see that exit sign right there. Then step onto the stage and take a bow, pose with your trophy, so our festival photographer, Ted Hauser, can take a nice picture of you with your entry slide up here on the screen behind you. Parents and teachers, if you could please stay seated while we have these photos available. We will have these photos available on our website free of charge, and that will allow us to move through everyone very quickly and be sure that everyone gets their proper time in the spotlight. Now, there should be plenty of time after we wrap things up for more pictures with your kids, and of course, feel free to use the step and repeat background in the lobby to take additional photos. Now, all of the certificates for excellence, honor, and merit organized by schools should be picked up in the lobby at the end of this ceremony. Now, we're going to get things started very quickly, but I also have a favor to ask of the students. When you see your name and your piece up here, already start to line up at the exit. Don't wait till we've called every single name, please. So if you guys could work with me, we're going to get through these very quickly. So let's get going, and we're going to start with the entry from Career Line Tech Center, teacher Bill Woolbrink, titled Get Well, Leah, the Trailer. Now if I could have the students Brooklyn Verbeek, Adele Makimowski, and Lena Huizenga come on up. Congratulations to all of you. I'll have you go right there. That's where the photographer is. Yes. Great, now everybody else who wins knows exactly where they're supposed to go, so thank you for that. Let's give her another round of applause, please. All right, now the next 6 awards are from students at Detroit Country Day School you can clap, it's okay, under the guidance of their teacher, Brett Solomon. So if I could have the students from New Girl, Suicide Prevention, and See You Soon start to line up over there, and then we will all call you up. But we're going to start with New Girl, and the students are Nicole Pasto, Bella Bandel, Sia Pradhan, and Lauren Mocure. So that is for New Girl, which was absolutely great. So we'll have them coming up. So you guys can prepare accordingly. The next batch of students will be Suicide Prevention PSA. So if you all could start lining up, please. And let's give these ladies another round of applause. All right, now the students for Suicide Prevention, again, oh, they're here. Nicole Pasto and Bella Bandel. Come back again. That was fast, right? All right. Now next up, for See You Soon, we have Sia Pradhan and Lauren Mocure. In the meantime, if I could have the students for Golden Child, please make your way over to the exit sign and start lining up, please. Not here, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. So our winner for the Best Narrative Film category award and the $500 cash prize was Sia Hold on, see you soon. Yeah, not here, sorry. The next up is Golden Child, which is again Bella Vandal and Nicole Pasto. And the next film, which was Helpless, once again, Bella Bandel, Sia Pradhan, and Nicole Pasto, as well as Lexi Clark and Monica Nee. We'll have them come back out. All right, and last but not least, the entry from Detroit Country Day is Power to the People, Nicole Pasto and Shakuntala Balusu. All right, and the next four are from the Downriver Detroit Student Film Consortium under the guidance of teacher Scott A. Galeski. If I can, we want to give a big congratulations to Major Tom. We've got our students lining up, and that was created by students of the Downriver Student Film Consortium. And then after that, we've got Neek Freak. And if I can have those students start lining up for me, please. Congratulations. Big congratulations. And for Neek Freak, we've got Nico Gutierrez and Dewan Jones. Big congratulations. And while we're waiting, let's have the students for Rogue Schnauzer come on up. Those are Dewan Jones, Romeo Kaiser, Miles King, and Maxwell King as well. And while we're waiting for them to come up, if I can have the students from Human Racism line up at the exit line, please, that would be great. Round of applause for those students. And for Human Racism, our students are Alina Villamure, Romeo Kaiser, Kaya Garner Minnick, Carolyn C.C. Hubbard, Matthew Wilson, Alexis Giroux, Matthew Stone, and Morgan Kirby. Come on out. You step right there and get your picture taken. And while they're taking their picture, if I can have the students from Everything You Can't line up, please. Big congratulations. Now the next group of filmmakers come from FV Pankow Center under the creative guidance of teacher Michael Kaufman. And let's start with the entry that is the winner of the Best Music Video category, receiving a $250 prize card from ProCam. That would be for Everything You Can't. Is our student here, Brooke Ringstad. Big congratulations. And in the meantime, can we have the students from art therapy at the rail line up, please? And those students are Julia Wilkins and Abigail Lenaway. And we're waiting for one more. And in the meantime, if we can have the students from the parties over line up for me, please, at the exit sign. Oh, we've got this same, let's just swap them out, ladies. Very well done. It's also for the parties over, Julia Wilkins and Abby Lenaway. Now, while we're taking that picture, let me have the students from Cruise Line Christmas Edition line up for me, please. So for Cruise Line Christmas Edition, we've got them coming up, and if I can also have the students from GPTV Sports Opener line up for me at the exit sign as well. And for the Cruise Line Christmas Edition, the students are Cole Tucker, Julia Wilkins, Zion Williams, Micah Martin, Abby Lenaway, and Mariah Davis. All right. And from Grosse Pointe South High School and teacher Stephen Gursey, I should say, we've got GPTV Sports Opener, Alice Walsh. Are you here, Alice? Give me a wave. Maybe not? Okay. How about for the GPTV Opener students, Jackson Catarambone and Peter Lawrence? All right. Now, if I can have Zoology Mice Mazes line up for me, please. And let's bring up Lake Orion High School awardee who created the work under the guidance of teacher Roger Smith. Jillian Jansen. All righty, and also from Lake Orion High School, if I missed you, Jillian, please give me a wave. No wave, okay. Also from Lake Orion High School, DECA competition, that student is Ryan Wilbert. Let's give Ryan a round of applause. All right, so is Ryan here? Give me a wave before I move on. All right. So from Portage Central High School and teacher Elizabeth Honeysett, Best of Show award goes to Solace. And the students are Lucas Price, Cameron Olson, Jackie Odza, and Sam Kirby. Awesome. And while we are waiting for them to come up, if I can have the students from Lonely Scarecrow and Focus on the Road, Not Your Phone, line up for me, please. That's Lonely Scarecrow and Focus on the Road, Not Your Phone. If you could line up for me at the exit sign, please. Let's give our students from Solace a round of applause, please. Okay, and an independent animator who is the recipient of the Best Animation Category Award and receiving a $250 award card from Program is Olivia Mutart from The Lonely Scarecrow. Oh, sorry. Oh, Oliver. Sorry, this was mispressed. Sorry, Oliver. Sorry about that, my friend. All right, now, we also have a number of Best Show awards from Romeo High School and teacher Stephanie Harbison. And first up is Focus on the Road, Not Your Phone. And the students are Nico Trocchi, and Joey Sarver. Round of applause. And while we are taking their pictures, if I could have the students from Minute Food Review line up for me, please. Minute Food Review and Thermal. Yes. And while we're at it, the red ribbon as well. And next up, we've got Minute Food Review, and the students are Rocky Amalfitano, John Fahey, Christian Webb, Christopher Price, and Carter Hutchison. Let's give them a round of applause. Well done. And also from Romeo High School, Thermal, the students are Ryan Romano, Nico Trocchi, and Joey Sarver. Nice jacket. I like it. Thumbs up. All right, and if I can also have the student from There's Always Someone line up for me, please, and the 2-minute warning, if those two can line up for me. And next up we have, for the red ribbon, student Aubrey McDonald. Very nice. Now from There's Always Someone, Lillian Termini. Let's give a round of applause for Lillian. Congratulations to Lillian. And the final entry from Romeo High School is 2-minute warning, and the students are Jack Stager, Gabriel Perino, and Sophia Paulsinelli. Let's give them a round of applause. And now we're going to be moving on to Royal Oak School under the guidance of teacher Mike Conrad. If I can have the students from The Cutoff, A Lingering Fear, and Epic Trick Shot all line up for me, please. And we're going to start with The Cutoff. And the student is Farah Ardwin. Let's give Farah a round of applause. Congratulations, Farah. And also from Royal Oak High School, from A Lingering Fear, we have Sophia Pellegrino. Let's give Sophia a round of applause. Now we'll be moving on to Troy Athens High School. And with Epic Trick Shots, we have student Maxwell Ketterman. And now while Maxwell is having his photo taken, if the students from West Bloomfield High School can line up for me at the exit sign, please. Congratulations again to Maxwell. And from West Bloomfield High School, and teacher Jennifer Williamson. Are you guys clapping already? It's okay, you can. This first entry is the recipient of the Best News Sports Magazine Program Category Award, receiving a $250 award from ProCam. Why do we still have daylight savings time? A question that we all ask. And those students are Max Gottsman and Mariana Lopez. Let's give them a round of applause. Great work, guys. Thank you. And before we get to our final award for Best Documentary, we'll learn a little bit more about this namesake, John Prusak, a very special founding father of DAFT and an inspiration to students for the past 51 years. Here's a brief look at the man who has meant so much to so many.
Some of the films that I've worked on, what have I worked on? Let me think. Probably the best known film that I've worked on is Roger and Me with Michael Moore. And I worked on that for about 2.5 years. It was a documentary.
What have some of your students accomplished?
I've had a tremendous amount of students through my years. I've been teaching for 45 years, which is hard to believe that it's been that long. Some of them have gone to great things. Doug Chang, he was a student of mine at the William D. Ford Tech Center. Doug has won 2 Academy Awards, one for Death Becomes Her and the other one for Forrest Gump. Dan Scanlon. Dan was the director for Monsters University. And there's a tremendous amount of other filmmakers that I've known. Film and animation, this is their medium, the kids. This is what they're growing up with. That's what they listen to, that's what they watch. So it helps us understand the medium better if they can see how it all works. And they become more discriminate in their viewing, which is imperative because up to this point, we've all been controlled by the medium, but now they have the opportunity to create the medium.